All right, traders, the futures are currently selling off. SPY is now trading at $400 in the extended hours trading session. I am going to be showing you my upcoming trading plan for this week. I'm going to show you how to trade the best setups at the best prices. I'm going to walk you through step by step these trading plans. We are going to be going over an in-depth price action analysis on the SPY, AMZN, NEO, SNO, and Futu. These are going to be the top stocks that I'm going to be watching into this week. I'm going to show you when to be long biased, when to be bullish, when to be short biased, when to be bearish. So what we need to go over in terms of this SPY is we need to address the key make it or break it level. We're going to call it $400. This is the key make it or break it level. If $400 continues to hold in the pre-market, if it's reacting as a support level tomorrow in the pre-market towards open, if you see $400 turning into a support level, we will start to see a little micro recovery within some time to fill the gap. There's a gap to fill above the previous closing price on Friday, $405.31. As you can see, we're on track to open up much lower than that as the SPY is now trading at $400.90. So what I'm telling you is if $400 ever turns into a strong base, I want you to pay attention to this because this is very important. You could see right here, this red line that I ended up drawing. This is that nice whole key $400 round number. And as you can see, there's a nice bottom wick right here and previous resistance right here. Once it reacted as support, it started exploding up. So $400 is your make it or break it support level. If it reacts as support, we will see a retrace back up to fill the gap at 405.31, which will be the new make it or break it micro short-term resistance level for the SPY for a potential gap close reversal. Now, if we crack $400 and instead of turning it into a floor, into a support level, and we turn it into a roof and SPY drops under 400, it's forming lower highs under 400, bearish confirmations, bearish wicks, then we will continue to be super bearish into this week, and we will be on track to fill the next gap within some time, which is at $390.89, which is a very key make it or break it level on SPY as well. So the overall thesis that I'm sharing with you right now in terms of long bias, $400 has to hold. It has to turn into a support level. It has to turn into a floor. If so, it's going to retrace back to fill the gap at 405.31, which will be the new make it or break it resistance level. Now, if $400 cracks, it reacts as a resistance level. The SPY will start to break down. It will be on track to close weak at the lows, and it will have a nice red day. Probably not as big as this, but it will have a nice red day if it can turn $400 into a resistance level. So if it can't do that, the next best price to play the put options is going to be at 405.31. So just to understand, in terms of micro price action, $400 is make it or break it. If it reacts as a roof, lower highs, sells off, then this is super bearish and we go to 390 within some time. If it reacts to support and it reacts as a floor, then we will be on track to fill the gap at 405.31, which is the next make it or break it level. If that reacts as a resistance, then I scalp puts. If not, then I stay away from it. What is the daily chart telling me in terms of the SPY and where we can possibly be heading? So in terms of the daily chart, we have this massive red candlestick on the SPY. I mean, just seeing how the SPY reacts when it does form that massive red candle, it can go either way. It can go either way. We can be in a situation where it's something like this and we just continue to sell off, or we can be in a situation where there's not too much downside left and it starts to bottom towards that 390 or slightly lower than that level. So we got to take it one day at a time, one trade at a time, one day at a time. In terms of this, like I said, this big red bearish candle, and we were just at 430s, what can potentially happen is where we do start to bottom out into this week. It's definitely a possibility. Now I have to use confirmations to identify that, right? So $400 is the key make it or break it level. In terms of what the daily chart is telling me, this can go either way. It's very interesting though. This is very interesting. This rejection at 411.75 with this massive red candle, and then you have a nice rejection here. Higher. It got higher, but you have a nice rejection, very similar candle, and then the next day it gaps down, it closes weak at the lows, and then it continues to get absolutely crushed. So remember, if $400 reacts as a resistance level, you should be expecting something like this, an overall weak close, if $400 can react as a resistance. If you see it reacting as support, then you should expect it to push back up to fill the gap, which is at 405. So that $400 level is going to be the key make it or break it level to determine if we're going to be closing weak at the lows, or are we going to be exploding up to fill that gap tomorrow at 405.31. So remember, if it reacts as a floor, if it reacts as support, micro bullish, it starts to fill the gap. If it reacts as a resistance and it breaks down below, micro bearish, and it starts to fill the gap below towards 390 instead of the gap to fill above towards 405. So that's the awareness that I want to bring attention to, because it is such an important level. I mean, you could just see, look at this. This is what I want you to pay attention to. There is two possibilities for tomorrow, and it's going to be volatile. So look at this. Right here, $400 reacts as a resistance level. SPY drops to 392. It gets crushed, right? So if it reacts as a roof, it's going to get crushed, and it's going to start to fill the gap at $390.89. You can see right here, SPY reacted $400 as a support level, and it exploded back up to 405s, and there's a gap to fill at 405.31. So again, $400 is your make it or break it level. Reacts to support, it explodes up to 405. New make it or break it level, 405.31 gap fill level. If it reacts as a resistance and breaks down, then this continues to get crushed and fills that gap towards the 390s, right? So in terms of other key levels, there's a gap to fill at 390.89, and there's a gap to fill at 405.31. Your key moment of truth level right now is this $400 level. So again, things to bring awareness to. I showed you the daily patterns as well. So let's get into Amazon now. In terms of Amazon, we are at a very interesting level here. I want to bring awareness to this. This was previous resistance, and it's going to be retesting this resistance. So this is what I want to bring some awareness to. And in terms of where SPY is heading, looking at other chart patterns can help you determine that as well. Because if you're following stocks that follow SPY and a certain chart pattern is telling you something, it could be a delayed reaction where SPY is going to do the same thing. So I want to bring some awareness, to this. This Amazon, this is a key make it or break it level here, 130.76. You could see right here, 130.76. Big downside potential. If it cracks that within 2 days, it dropped all the way to 118. You could see right here as well, 129. Big downside potential. Just a day later, it dropped all the way down to 120. So Amazon is heading back to this key resistance level. Now keep in mind, Amazon had a nice gap up. It's been on a nice uptrend. It's coming back down to this previous resistance level. So there is a possibility it can react as a support level. However, SPY's already gapping down, so Amazon's going to be on track to gap down. So this is what I want you to focus on in terms of Amazon for tomorrow. I want you to think of your make it or break it level, 130.76, but since it already gapped down, it's going to be unlikely, but that is a key make it or break it level, 130.76. If that reacts as a resistance, play the puts. Your second level, this is if it already gapped down towards pre-market and it's already getting crushed, 129. 129, those would be the levels, 129 and $130.76. Those two levels. If it breaks down, cracks, reacts as a resistance, super bearish move to fill the gap at 122.28 this week. And then that's where we could potentially have a reversal. If not at that level, then at 114.81. So your key levels on Amazon are 130.75 and 129. If it cracks, reacts as a resistance, play the puts. And then in terms of overall targets this week, it can go to as low as 122.28. And then key support levels are going to be this 114.81 and 122.28. Just understand it's retracing back to previous resistance. So it could bounce towards these key previous resistance levels. So we got to see how it reacts. But overall, things aren't looking too good right now. But we got to see how the SPY reacts to 400. Our next stock is going to be NEO. NEO's looking pretty bearish. This looks like a great short for tomorrow. It's at key resistance. There was a gap to fill above at $21.30. As you can see right here, it got to a high of $21.26. It missed that gap by 4 single cents. So if you see NEO forming resistance at $19.80, $20 tomorrow, if you see it starting to crack below key support level, which would be right here, this you could say 1970. If it drops under 1970, it's gonna have a nice pullback to about $19 tomorrow if it can drop under that 1970 level. So in terms of the setup, it's a partial gap close reversal. It partially filled the gap and is showing signs of a reversal. And just to bring some awareness to this, you can see right here, this is at key resistance and you have the same candle. This is at key resistance, you have the same candle. Look what happened the next day. The next day, it did end up selling off, but then it recovered, right? And remember, if SPY holds 400, you will see a recovery to fill that gap at 405. But overall, NEO kept dropping. So pay close attention to NEO. It's going to be a very interesting setup where if we can take out this 1970, 1980, it's going to have a nice little sell-off to $19. Snow. I'm loving this setup. This is a very similar setup to that, famous Walmart trade I recently had. And Snow is looking very, very interesting here. We're at key resistance. We have a nice top wick, right? This is when stocks can potentially have reversals. See how it's forming the top wick, and then it sells off, right? Towards key resistance, top wick towards key resistance. Overall direction is down for the short term. So this is extremely overbought for the short term. It's due for a correction. It's due for some downside potential. It needs to correct itself, right? The market just got hit. A lot of stocks just got hit. Snow can be a delayed reaction where it takes that hit just delayed in a delayed fashion. So this is what I want to bring awareness to in terms of Snow, right? We're going to disable extended hours for this, and I just want to visually show you the key levels that I'm going to be looking for. Our key level is going to be right here. We're going to call it like, we'll say this 194.75. Once we can crack 194.75 and go under this and react as a resistance, we're going to start to see another sell-off. And another key level that I want you to pay attention to is this 184. Once we go under 184, crack and react as a resistance level, then we're going to want to look to play the puts as well. Just remember, the first time it tests the support at 184, it's likely going to bounce at first. It's likely not going to crack right away. So you have to wait for it to react as a roof. You have to wait for the bearish confirmations to form. Once it's, cracking below, pushing back up and forming lower highs, forming the bearish dojis, the bearish candlesticks, the top wicks. So our main key alerts in terms of support key breakdowns that I'm going to be interested in this play are going to be at or below this like 196 level and at or below this 185. What I can recommend with this one is you're going to want to play puts on the first red day. That's what I would do. I would wait for the first red day and then I would start playing puts. So if you see it going green to red, if you see it opening up red, then the previous closing price will be your best entry if it opens up red. But overall, on the first red day, that's when I would start accumulating some puts on Snow here. Our next stock is going to be Futu, F-U-T-U. This is going to be our last one. This one, what I want you to wait for is, you can see right here, we had a gap to fill above at 51.42. It's a weird stock. I was looking at the daily chart. Anything can happen, but in terms of how things look, I would say overall bearish. I would say overall within some time, it's going to sell off. So what I want to bring awareness to is this level. This is our key level. It's going to be a key breakdown play. If you see Futu go under this $46 level, if you see it crack, not 46, if you see it crack the previous closing price, 45.91. If you see 45.91, 45.91 to 45.70, that's going to be our zone. 45.91 to 45.70. If you see it breaking down, forming resistance in that channel, forming lower highs, you're going to want to play puts. This was just at 50. It had an overreaction to the downside, dropped all the way to 45.70. Now it's forming lower highs and it's closing weak towards the low of day, towards the previous closing price. There's a gap to fill below at 40.72. And as you know, if you watch my videos that I made this week on the SPY, one key setup that we look for is, you could see Futu had a gap up, it filled the gap, it had a reversal, now it's forming lower highs and retracing back to the previous closing price, which is a bearish reaction. It is bearish. It filled the gap, it had its reversal, now it's forming lower highs and it's trying to retrace back to the previous closing price. So this is a key breakdown play. And what I'm showing you is, you can see it bounced from $45.70 very, very quickly to 48.71. It bounced 3 points rapid fire. So what I'm telling you is, if this cracks and reacts as a resistance, you're going to want to play puts, because instead of that 3-point upside move, you're going to have a nice 3-point downside move. And it's going to start to fill that gap that's going to fill below at 40.72 within some time. So, yeah, pay attention to Futu as well. So those are the top setups: SPY, AMZN, Neo, Snow, and Futu. My favorite setups right now are going to be mainly the SPY. That's going to be the main favorite of this week. I'm going to keep a close eye on Snow as well. Neo's okay. I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, Neo, look at this, man. It turned the previous closing price on the 5-minute into resistance. That's so bearish. It did the same thing Futu did, except it's already cracked previous closing price and turned it into resistance. But yeah, those are the main plays that I'm seeing right now. And I'm just, you guys know me. As of this year, I'm mainly trading the SPY. And the best setups at the best prices. My latest big hit was the Walmart play. I made 2 great videos explaining how you can consistently make money, buying put options on Walmart. And I gave very great information and analysis within those videos, teaching the strategies. And it worked out phenomenally. Worked out 100%. It was such a phenomenal play, man. So yeah, if you do want to be a part of Traders Society, that's going to be the first link down below in the description. That's my team. That's my private group. That's where you can work with me personally alongside with the members within Trader Society. And that's where you can surround yourself with people who are trading in this style, who are scalping, who are, trading the best setups at the best prices, who are using these unique gap trading strategies that I've created. So if you want to be surrounded with that community, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. You will also get lifetime access, and it's a one-time fee, to everything included in the program, which also includes the Discord server. I will be live on voice every single day, live streaming my account as well, live streaming the charts, teaching you the strategy, and giving you real-time live commentary on the voice channel. The only way to get real-time voice channel or real-time alerts is on a voice channel in a Discord server, right? As if you and I were talking over the phone. In terms of live streaming, it's not 100% real time. There's like a 10-second delay, or wherever you are. It could be a further delay, right? But I will also stream the portfolio and stream the charts as well, so you can learn. And you get access to live trading sessions that I do every single day. You also get access to the recordings of those sessions, so you can go back and watch them. You also get access to the video lesson library. The video lesson library is going to give you all of the tools and resources and knowledge of the stock market that I've accumulated over the past decade. It's going to show you how to trade the best setups at the best prices. It's going to show you how to master these unique gap trading price action strategies. It's going to teach you how to trade options. It's going to teach you risk management and position sizing. It's going to show you how you can be profitable with a win rate as low as 25%. And I'm telling you guys, I'm going to help you master the SPY, and I'm going to put you on to the best setups at the best prices in terms of stocks. And I'm really going to help you master that price action of the SPY, because the SPY is all you need. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. If you want to check it out, it's the first link down below in the description. I will see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open. As soon as you sign up, you get instant access and you get lifetime access. It is a one-time fee. This is the best deal Trader Society will ever be at. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow live at Market Open.